What is going on, traders? Welcome back to the Traveling Trader. Happy Monday to you. So I'm going to start off by going over the Bitcoin report for the day. Why did I short Bitcoin in the short term? And then we'll go over the traditional market update. And I'll talk about Tesla, Pinterest, and a couple of other stocks that we're looking at and whether there are good opportunities there in the market. So let us get right into it. All right, so looking at Bitcoin here, we have the XBT-USD, which is the perpetual inverse swap contract on BitMEX. And the reason I'm looking at this is this is just where I long and short Bitcoin, right? Where we're not trading Bitcoin on the spot market. You're not buying and selling Bitcoin. You're trading in a futures market. So the reason that I shorted Bitcoin in the short term, and I sent this out in the trade alerts, obviously, if you want access to those trade alerts, link is in the description. You get access to all of my entries and exits, both in the crypto and the stock market as well. So after dropping from the 200 moving average, which is this green line here that you see here, it held support for about a couple of weeks, and then we fell from there. So what typically happens, both with stocks and crypto, is, levels of support and resistance get retested after being broken. So this was broken. We retested it back here in November 8th, and then we tried to hit it again yesterday. So after I saw that rejection, I sent out an alert for a short, and this is a relatively low risk play, right? Because your entry, your stop limit can actually be very close to where your entry is, right? And so since we have this 200-day moving average here now serving as resistance, you can actually have a stop limit that's very close to that. So after I saw that rejection again, very low risk, high reward play, took a short on Bitcoin. My target range for, where to take profits was between $8,500 and $8,600. And the reason is just because of this previous level that we see here on Bitcoin. So we actually fell down to 85.71, just in that range. At that point, once your range is hit, you could set a trailing stop in order to take profit, so that if the trade goes against your position by a certain percentage or a certain dollar amount, then you exit the trade safely. And if you did even just, something as low risk as a 5x leverage, you would have made around 30%, 10x, you would have made around 60% on this trade. So that is why I shorted Bitcoin in the short term. Now, where do I think it's going to go? I've made it clear that I do think Bitcoin, and let me get out of the BitMEX chart real quick and go to the spot market. That way the volume levels and whatnot are accurate. So here we're looking at Bitcoin on Binance against Tether. Oh, and also there was a confluence level, the target for my short. There was a confluence level between the 50-day moving average, which is this orange line right here, and the 0.618 moving average, or the 0.618 fib level here, which is at around 8,500. So when you have a confluence of indicators signifying a certain level to you, then that is more assurance that that level is potentially a key level and one that you should pay attention to and one that you can base your trades around. So where do I think Bitcoin is going in the short term? Well, I've said this before. I do think that we are going to drop. I do have a buy set up at around 7,800. Now, the reason I say that we're going to drop is because Bitcoin is readily giving up these areas of support here. Like I said, the 200-day moving average, we were there for about a couple of weeks, fell below that, came back to retest it, got rejected pretty easily. The volume is just looking terrible. The VFI is below zero, continues to trade flatly. The MACD, this is the LMACD, which is the logarithmic MACD. Read up on it. I don't want to go too much into it now, but there's a subtle difference between the MACD and the LMACD. If you are interested in this, hit me up in the comment section and I'll give you access to the script for this trading indicator. I'll give it to you for free. It's not mine, by the way, but I did find it on TradingView a while back. So if you look at the LMACD against a logarithmic chart, you'll see that it's actually very accurate when there's a bullish crossover, the price moving up, when there's a bearish crossover, the price moving down. So the LMACD, the terrible volume, the RSI declining, and the fact that we keep breaking these levels of support, as well as the death cross between the 50 and the 200 that you see here that occurred in the last week of October, I do think that the most plausible move is a move down. Now, we are still within this long descending channel, right? So I don't expect us to break to something crazy like 3,000 just yet. I'm not really into those types of hyperbolic predictions. Anyway, I like to stay within the trend until the trend expires. And so this trend, obviously, the descending channel, the typical break is a break to the upside. So I do think that we will, when I say move down, just within this channel itself, but when we do finally break out, we will break to the upside during the next bull rally. Now, obviously, we're not fortune tellers, so it's not a necessity that we break down. We could easily, by the end of the year, just start breaking up from here. But, based on the things that I discussed earlier, the volume, the momentum, the death cross, etc., I think the most plausible move is a move down. Plus, I don't think that there is an opportunity for a short squeeze here, because if you take a look at the shorts, you'll see that we don't have a lot of shorts to leverage for a short squeeze. Shorts are still at a relative low here after forming this double bottom. So I do think that we need shorts, climbing shorts, in order for there to be a short squeeze opportunity. So let me just go back to the Bitcoin spot chart. And that is why I say that, the next move, the next plausible move is a move down. Now, I do have a buy, like I said, set up around 7,800. And the reason is, obviously, you could set a buy at the support of this level here, which is at around 7,200. But then you're in a situation where you're trying to catch the bottom. And, if you do that 9 out of 10 times, you're going to be losing. So I would rather average in my buys. I'll put in a buy at 7,800 on the spot market. If we do end up going down to 7,200, I'll put in another buy for Bitcoin at that point. All right, so that is the Bitcoin update. Again, if you want access to the trade alerts, link is in the description, where I send out my levels for all of my trades that I'm making in the cryptocurrency and the stock market. Obviously, we're trading more than just Bitcoin. So sign up if you want access to that. If you need help with technical analysis or would like one-on-one coaching, that same link is also in the description. I do cap the number of people that I take per month just to make it worthwhile for you. And also, I just don't have that much time. So, but yeah, hit me up. Same link is also in the description. Let us jump to the traditional market update. All right, so looking at the traditional markets, we have a bit of a retracement today on most of the indices, except for the Dow is relatively unchanged. S&P down about 0.25%, the NASDAQ down about 0.1%. Not too much going on in the traditional market. So let us take a look at a couple of stocks individually. Tesla. So should you buy Tesla here? Well, Tesla is looking extremely bullish. Not only did they beat their earnings, the earnings estimate was supposed to be a negative earnings estimate, and they ended up with a positive earnings estimate, beating it by, around 150%, plus the amount of free cash flow that they have, $371 million in free cash flow. Now, here is the interesting thing with Tesla. If you are a long-term investor, right, this is extremely bullish. You see the golden cross here on the 1 day between the 50 and the 200. You see the insane amounts of volume coming in, both on the volume bar as well as the VFI is now over 0 again, and it is steadily climbing up. You see the MACD, the LMACD moving up, the RSI moving up. So if you're a long-term buyer, yeah, I mean, obviously Tesla is looking extremely bullish, and there looks to be a clear path in the long term to at least this 380 mark that it has hit a couple of times within the last couple of years. 3 or 4 times actually. Oh wow, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in the last 2 or 3 years. So there seems to be a clear path to there. It's a relatively easy play, and I do think that Tesla will eventually break this, especially if it continues to generate more free cash flows, if it continues to surprise in the earnings department, if it does, scale up its production in its China factory. But in the short term, there is a plausible short opportunity on Tesla, and I'm talking about the very short term. If you're not an experienced short-term trader, or you don't know how short shorts work. Obviously, I would not advise anybody to take this approach. You have to know how to diligently get into and out of your positions. But every time Tesla is majorly overbought on the RSI, the scenario that I can liken it to is back here in 2017. And the reason I say that is because that's the last time that we saw, majorly overbought on the RSI with the golden cross, same as we see now in November 2019. So obviously, in the long term, Tesla did continue its upward path to that 380 mark. However, in the short term, after being majorly overbought, you do tend to see a retracement. And Tesla does this quite often. You see here in June 2018, majorly overbought, and you see a retracement. Now, in terms of how far down can Tesla retrace to? Well, you can measure this one here using a fib retracement, right? So if we measure the swing low to swing high, you see that Tesla dropped to around the 0.382 fib level before continuing its uptrend. This is after being overbought on the RSI, after forming the golden cross. So in the same vein, you can actually, look at Tesla here, and the inverse of the 0.382 is the 0.618. So I don't have to redraw the fib level, but you can expect Tesla to drop. I don't know if we'll drop below 300, but this is a good target. The 0.618, or really the 0.382 if you're going down, is a good target for Tesla short. And again, this is in the very short term, only based on the fact that we're majorly overbought here. It's a relatively low risk play. I don't advise this as a long-term strategy. Long-term, I'm very bullish on Tesla. And I do think that, well, here's the funny thing, is that shorts or options, right? If you're shorting through options, were really created as a way to hedge against your holdings. So if you did hold Tesla for the long term, but you expected Tesla to decline or retrace in the short term, then you can leverage the use of options in order to hedge against your long-term position or protect your long-term position, right? That's really why options were initially created, and futures for that matter, is so that, investors who are holding commodities or stocks long term can hedge against short term movements. So you can actually be both, long on Tesla in the long term, and you can short through the use of options, through the use of put options or selling call options, right? You can short Tesla in the short term, leveraging a potential retracement to this $300 level or 303 level. So that's actually what I'm planning on doing. Like I said, there is a great long-term opportunity on Tesla to at least the 380 level. I do think we'll eventually break through, but in the short term, you could hedge that position by using options or just going short if you know what you're doing, obviously. Another stock that I'm looking at is Pinterest. Pinterest took you see this gap down, took a beating last week. Let's measure this price move down. It actually, from close to open, it declined about 22% in one day. Obviously recovered just a bit, but these opportunities here, Pinterest I IPO'd earlier this year, so it really doesn't have much history to go by. But again, this could be a very low risk play because you could set a stop limit very close to where your entry is. You see that it is majorly oversold for the first time on the RSI. Like I said, not a lot of history, so the first time is not indicative of much. However, buying a major social media platform in its early days could be very lucrative, as we saw with obviously Facebook, as we saw with Snapchat, right? Or Snap. Obviously buying at the IPO, if we take a look at Snap, actually, you'll see if you bought at the IPO, you're still losing. And, this is almost over 2 years ago. So if you bought at the IPO level, you haven't made any money. You've actually lost money. But if you bought at the significant dips when, Snap went all the way down to just shy of $5 here at the end of last year, then you're up a great deal. So if this is considered a major dip for Pinterest, this could be a lucrative opportunity. Now, personally, based on history, I do think we have some more to drop, right? I don't think Pinterest is... it hasn't turned a profit yet, I don't think, and it continues to disappoint on its earnings. Also, if you look at the history of something like Twitter, Twitter, even if you bought it back in 2013, you'd still be losing money if you bought around the IPO range, right? It wasn't until it crashed all the way down to, around $13, that Twitter became a lucrative opportunity at its current price point. And it took 3 years for it to crash down to $13. So, if I do buy Pinterest, it would just be for a short-term move up to potentially fill this gap or get halfway up there. But long-term, I'm not going to be holding Pinterest at around $20. I do feel like based on until it figures out how to make money, we will potentially see further declines down. There could actually be a lucrative long-term short opportunity on Pinterest based on the history of these social media companies that were struggling to figure out how to make money in their early stages and haven't even seen, even a company like Twitter, like I said, hasn't even come close to what it IPO'd at. Anyway, that is it for this video. For the full breadth of what I'm trading, if you want access to my entire portfolio, I send that out again in the Discord community. If you are subscribed to the trade alerts, and that link is in the description. So subscribe if you want my full crypto, my full stock portfolio, and you also get to engage with me and our fellow traders, our group of about 500 traders, where we exchange ideas, potential entries, exits, lucrative strategies, etc. Link is in the description. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. If you got anything out of this video, hit that thumbs up. Stay safe out there, traders. Peace.